I wouldn't engage in comparison, but you're definitely not running away from the framing. The most successful Israeli Hollywood director. Was the title Israeli always an asset for you in your eyes, or was it ever a burden to an extent?
I'm not running away from it. First of all, thank you for the compliment. I don't think I'm the most successful one, but it's good to be, recognized and acknowledged. I'm not running away from being Israeli. I know how complicated it is as well. And I'm not afraid also to, have criticism towards my country when needed. But I'm a filmmaker. I'm not a politician. And, I am who I am as a private person and a filmmaker with inspiration to cause discussion in the world. If it's about the racism in America or it's about what's going on in Israel. So, I'm my own self. I don't feel like I'm someone who represents a country.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, that's what I meant. Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel.
Yeah, and to that point exactly, your creation might take place overseas, but the Jewish, or yes, I would dare to say Israeli heart is very much beating in it. And your latest movie, Golda, is yet another example. So before we continue, let's take a quick look and pick it up from there.
Mr. Secretary?
You are to open a humanitarian corridor to the Third Army, Golda. We cannot allow 30,000 men to die of thirst.
We'll send them water when we've got our prisoners back.
I will try to arrange.
And Sadat agrees to direct talks with Israel. Not the Zionist entity, Israel.
That would be tantamount to recognition.
Yes.
He will never agree to that. The Arab world will turn against him.
If he doesn't, I will order my planes to attack. All those men will die. All of them.
So, Guy, how important was it for you to, an extent, recover Golda Meir's legacy, at least on screen? Can you really make a separation here?
For me personally, I was born into this war. I'm a 73 child. My mother ran to the shelter with me as a baby. And I grew up on the Yom Kippur stories and about Golda, and I didn't really know who Golda was. And we always saw her as some leader, but we didn't know the depth of her character until I read the script of Nicholas, and I did my deep research. And I understood that this woman was in the junction of the most dreadful war in the history of Israel. And that was, for me, fascinating, how a woman in 1973, where there were no women leader in the world, managed to somehow survive this crazy war and took on herself a lot of criticism. Dealing with stuff that not only she was responsible for. So for me, it was fascinating, to work with Helen Mirren, one of the greatest actress of our time, and Golda as a character, complicated character, I may say, because she's not clean of criticism, and that was my goal, to go deep inside under her skin and to find a way to this really sad story.
Yeah, believe it or not, I'm not going to ask you about the Jew Face saga, but I did mention it. I do want us to speak about your new project already in the making, a collaboration with an Iranian director. Tell us more about it, the movie, of course, but not less important, the decision to make it together. Obviously not political, but not political.
No, it's definitely political. It is political, very political, but in a good way. I think that I met Zar Ibrahimi, who is an amazing actress, creator, casting director, who won Cannes with her film Holy Spider. And I saw this film and my jaw dropped. She was so amazing. And I got in touch with her. And with Adim, Mendy, and my wife, Jamie, we decided to do this really important story about this Iranian judoka who is going to represent Iran in the World Championship and to bring the first gold medal. But she has those kind of like, challenges that every woman and, sportsman is dealing with in Iran. And it was an amazing collaboration with Zar. We became best friends, and it was basically the first Israeli-Iranian creative collaboration, I think, in cinema. And I can't wait for you to watch what we...
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, definitely. And I'm not asking you that as an unofficial ambassador, so to speak, but you are in the business of storytelling, the art of storytelling, rather. The global arena, often dubbed as one of the most challenging ones from Israel's standpoint. And what is it, do you think, that people do not get about Israel, or more so, what is it that Israel fails to properly convey?
It's a question that is, it's a very, very complicated question. I need to think about that. But, Israel is a very complicated country. We all know the difficulties and the challenges right now, especially with democracy and how our democracy is being challenged. And I think for me as a filmmaker, I'd like to deal with it. I'd like to deal with this narrative of what's going on in Israel, and not to make an easy life. That's what I'm doing. I'm challenging the viewers, challenging the audience to ask difficult questions. And also in Golda, it's not a clean story about a leader. It's obviously about this war and about what this woman meant and had and reflect. And that's what I'm tending to do with all our history and the what we do. I think that as a filmmaker, that's what I'm attracted to, as film from the 70s that I grew up on. Yeah. So I can't really answer you specifically about what you asked, but I can tell that I tackle the hard stuff in my films, and that's what I do.
It's not so much about the answers, but rather about the questions. And before we let you go, GUY NATTIV, how do you celebrate Israeli Independence Day Hollywood style? Do you? Did you stack up some bamba and china?
I always eat bamba and china with two of my daughters. We're going to the Israeli supermarket, and they're going to Israeli Gan. They have this kind of a degel sheli, kachol v'levan, the whole thing. Oh. But I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know how to do. Maybe I'll look at it on the TV and just watch what's going on in Israel.